the revenue spikes are nice, but predictable cash flow is going to be better. And so what I want to show you here is how to visualize and create heat maps for your MRR, which is monthly recurring revenue for your maintenance agreements. And so in the data set here, what we have is we have all your data, and then we also have here a net MRR column, which is, after your discounts from gross. And so what we need to do is we need to see in the status column what's active versus, or calculate net MRR for active accounts and the month. And so what we can do is we can start here. You can just go here, type in month, and then type in the word January. And then from here, just drag it down until you see December, and then center it. And then what we're going to want to calculate next is net MRR per month. So active January net, and then do a growth calculation and create a benchmark, and then visualize all that stuff. Okay, so the first thing we need, I'll just copy and paste this. And if you want this file, there's a link in the description to download it. But I'll just paste this here. And then what you can do is equals sum if s. So sum the net MRR column if it's active and if it's January. So sum this here, column X, comma. And so the first criteria range, you can choose, the sequencing of this doesn't matter. I'll just go right to left. So here, column R, we want it to be active, comma, and then the month, comma, we want that to be January. And so you get 5813. And so to make this formatted as a dollar sign, as a currency, just press Control Shift and the number 4, and then I'll remove that, and then I'll just double click that, and you're good. And then I'll center all this. Okay, so monthly growth is going to be, we can't do it here because we don't have any data before, but you can start here, and you can do equals this minus this, and then divided by this, right? And so you're going to get, a negative growth for that month, and then you can just sort of see there's a lot of variation here. That's one way you could do it. You can also do this divided by this minus 1. It's the same calculation. Okay, and say we have a benchmark of 5%. Okay, so from here, what we want to do is we want to calculate all of this, and I'm going to show you a couple little tricks. So I'm not going to highlight everything. I'm just going to do this because I want to show you one little trick. So highlight this, and then go to Insert, and then Recommended, and this is the chart we want. But I'll show you how to create it without just clicking here. It should be there, but if it's not, then go to All Charts, Combo, and you can see the orange line is on the bottom, and the reason is because it's using the same axis. So you're getting negative 0.45%, but on an axis of up to 7,000, right? So it's not going to work. So here, where it's percent growth, just use a secondary axis, and now you have this here. And then click OK. And then if we want to format this as a percentage, you can just double click. And then here under number, make sure you click the 3 columns here. Under number, we want to do a percentage. And then you can just remove the decimals and do 0 to get the percentages. And then the little trick I wanted to show you was if you want to get the benchmark, you can just highlight it, Control C, click on the chart, and Control V, and now you have a line. And so from here, I just want to format it. So I'll double click, go to the little paint bucket here, do a solid line, and then you can pick whatever color you want, but let's just do gray. And then you can also do, have different dashes if you'd like. So you can do it that way. And if you wanted to add any values, if you click here and then do data labels, it's going to be a little bit noisy. And so instead of doing it that way, what you can do if you just want to see just one, like say you just want to see the MRR, click on that and then click data labels. And then you have just that. So however you like to do it, everybody's a little bit different. And so, yeah, so that's how you can create the first chart, and we'll call this MRR growth. You can maintenance monthly agreement, MRR growth, however you want to name it. Okay, so the next part is we want to do the same exact thing, but what we want to do is we want to do it by system type. And so we need the same months, and then across the top, we need to get a unique list of the system types. So you can do the same thing, type month and then January and drag it down, but I'll just copy and paste. So for the unique system types, what we need to do is we need to get the unique, so equals unique, under system type here. And so essentially, we don't want to see furnace twice, right? We want to get a unique list. So just highlight the whole column, and then you can press enter, and then you get that. And so now what we want is we want just this, right? So you can copy everything, press Control C, and then Control Shift V to remove the formula, and then just delete these. And if you want this to be in alphabetical order, you can highlight it, go to Data, and then sort A to Z, or however you want, or maybe you don't even want that. Just wanted to show you how to do that. And then now we need this to be up here. So I mean, you could just drag everything, but that takes too much time. So just highlight everything, press Control C to copy, and then right click ST. So right click ST, and I'll show you what's happening. So if you right click here, whenever you press S, you're going here to paste special. And then whenever you press T at the same time, you're going to transpose. And that's what we want. Okay, and so the next thing we want to do is we just want to get a sum of the same thing that we did here, but instead of breaking it out by month, we want to break it out by the system type and month. But it's going to be two criteria. So sum if S, we did this, it was sum if active and the month. Here it's going to be sum if active and the month and the system type. And so it's the same exact formula. It's just we're adding an extra criteria. So sum if S. So again, we'll just go through here. And the first thing we want is net MRR. And press F4 because we want to lock this so whenever we drag it over and drag it down, it's not going to change. If you drag it down and it's not with the dollar signs called absolute referencing, it won't matter. But as you drag it across, X we would then turn to Y, would then turn to Z, and so we want to make sure it stays on X for that. And then here we want this F4 again, the F4 key to make it a dollar sign, and then we want active, comma, and then we want to go to system type, which is right here again F4, comma, but here what we want is we want the furnace. And this is a little bit different in the sense like as we drag it down, we don't want furnace to change, but as we drag it left to right, we want furnace to go to heat pump. And so we need to put the dollar sign in the middle between the letter and the number. This is called relative referencing. And then finally, we want the month. Then the month of 4 to lock it in, and then January. And with this, as we drag it down, we want it to go January, February, but as we drag it over, we don't want it to go from January to, the dollar amount in furnace. And I'll show you what I mean. I won't lock this one, and I'll show you. So we have 1167. And so if you remember, Control Shift 4 and then center, but if you want to be formatted exactly like this, you can just click the format painter, home, format painter, click here, and you're good. So if we drag this down, it's good because January turns to February, good. But if we drag it over, it's not working because January now becomes, you can see the red sort of, it becomes the dollar amount. So essentially it's looking for that dollar amount in the month column, which isn't going to work, right? So you need to lock that. And that's what I mean when I say lock. And here you want to lock the column because as we go over, we want the column to stay the same. The other way where the dollar sign is between the letter and the number, we want the row to stay the same. As we drag down, we want the row to stay the same. But as we drag over, we want the columns to change. Okay, so assuming I know what I'm talking about, you copy that and if you paste here, everything's good. Perfect. No, don't do that. Okay, so finally, I did a heat map, and I'm going to show you two different ways. So you can just highlight this, and then conditional formatting, and then color scales. Green is high. The one problem with this is that, everything on split system is the highest. So if you don't want to do it that way, you could do it at the column level. So in other words, if you wanted to see your best month for, system type, right? So March was the worst month for system type. And you wouldn't really see that doing it the other way, but maybe you like the other way more. But the other way is pretty self-explanatory because you would instantly see, okay, RTU is lower or mini splits are lower. But what I'll do is I'll do it the other way, just to make it look like the example in the beginning. Okay, so finally, we want to create this chart here, which is a stacked column chart. Pretty straightforward to create. All you have to do is go in here, you can click anywhere. Go to insert. It's going to be the stacked column like this, or if you wanted to see some recommended charts, you could see, like, obviously a line isn't going to look as good. So right here, same exact thing. Just wanted to show you two different ways to do it. And so we could call this, say, in like MRR, monthly recurring revenue by system type. And you can change the name to maintenance agreement or, however you want to name it. And I'll just make this a little bit lower, a little bit smaller. We can do the same here, or if we drag it out across just to get the months. I don't know why it's going all the way out there. Go back. Okay. Okay, so that's how you create those two charts, and that's how you can analyze your data to see your MRR. But there's a lot of ways you could do it, and now that you have the foundation, you could do it by residential and commercial, you could do it by state, by city, by agreement type, by, I guess payment method if that mattered. You could do it by acquisition channel, and that would matter. That would be something valuable to do. And so, yeah, but anyways, if you have any questions on this, just let me know. You can just shoot me an email. questions@databoards.io. And again, if you want this file, links in the description. If you have any questions, there's also a form you can fill out if you want to hop on a call or something. If you have any questions about your data or your specific use case, that form will set up a time to chat with me. But if not, then that's all I got on this video, and I will see you in future videos.